Yesterday's 2024-25 opening budget presentation by Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clarke, Minister of Finance, Public Service, has been top of mind for many Jamaicans. He joins us this morning for a discussion around some of the key takeaways from his presentation. Minister, welcome to Sunrise.
Thank you for having me.
It's the first time since?
Since the makeover, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome. You like it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It looks like prosperity to me.
I ask everybody this. Are you a morning person?
I'm not a morning person. No, I'm not a morning person.
Got it.
I'm quite nocturnal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really?
Yes.
I'm a midday person.
You're midday.
I'm a night person.
Yeah.
But the fact that you said I love this, I know that many Jamaicans far and wide, when their budget, even those who don't watch, they want to know what's in it for me. So the income tax threshold is up front and center on the minds of so many Jamaicans. And we've heard that it has been increased from 1.5 million to 2.7 million.
No, you're wicked.
1.7 million. What does that mean for Jamaicans? How important was it to move that needle from 1.5 to 1.7?
So the income tax threshold is the level below which you don't pay any tax on your income.
Right.
And we last moved that threshold in 2018. And it's a very, because there are 640,000 people on the tax threshold, 450,000 who are below 1.5 and 270,000 who are above 1.5, moving that threshold costs a lot of money. So we move it from 1.5 to 1.7, that costs $9 billion. And it means now that you don't pay tax on your income up to 1.7 billion. But we are also careful to do something for those who are below 1.5 million. And for the persons below 1.5 million, we have introduced for the first time into Jamaica, a reverse income tax credit. And what that means is if you earn less than $1.5 million, once you are, have paid your statutory deductions, your NHT or NIS, etc., you qualify for a $20,000 rebate from the government of Jamaica. And that will apply to up to 570,000 persons working on the shop floor, working in the factory floor, persons who are janitors or work in the home or gardeners or working in the hotel space, who are cleaning or behind the bar or on the in the garden, etc. Working people, right? Which is the majority of Jamaicans who don't benefit from a threshold increase. Yeah. You see, we can't allocate resources based on who, as I said, but who I don't want to say shouts loudest, but who makes the most. Who has the biggest voice?
Yes.
Because then you leave people behind. All the threshold question, right? There's only 30% of people who were above the 1.5 threshold. Yet everybody, right? So what we have done is we have balanced the resources.
Right.
$11 billion going to people below the threshold, $9 billion going to people above the threshold. So we are thinking this thing through, and with limited resources, trying to be fair and equitable to the Jamaican people.
Well, the good news is persons here in Jamaica would have heard their relatives abroad say, hey, I get my tax return. And I said, what's that? In Jamaica, we don't get back anything. But so it's for the first time.
First time, yeah.
Persons will experience, get a sense of what
and
that
I'll
means.
come up with more details on it. I want to do this in a durable way. So it's not something we're going to do in, a couple of weeks. It will take a couple of months to set it up. We have to put, a system in place.
Right.
Online for people to be able to use. But yes, the idea, Jamaica gone metric, so to speak, that you do what you have to do, and what we're saying, the government steps in on behalf of those who earn at the lower end of the spectrum, and at the end of the year, you get your income tax credit, and we call it the reverse income tax credit, cash coming back to that person who earns less than in this case, we're doing it for all people who earn less than $3 million.
Okay.
How important was it for the government to remove the guarantor requirement for the student loan bureau applicants?
That's one of my favorite things from the budget, really. As I said yesterday, I come across people all the time who have the subjects to go to university and don't go because they don't have financing. Yet we have student loan bureau that has billions and billions and billions of dollars willing to lend. And when you look at it, a lot of people don't do it because they can't get a guarantor. A guarantor is somebody who says, look, if she don't pay back the loan, I'll pay it.
Right.
Now, if you're from a low-income background, the circle of people you know are not in a position to make that kind of commitment. And so what we have done is to say we have lifted the guarantor requirement. Anybody who wants access to student loan can go and just borrow the money. That's it. Don't need anybody to stand behind them. And you know what? Last year we lifted the guarantor requirement for students on PATH, and we had a 180% increase in PATH students accessing student loan. Wow. The year before we removed it for children who are wards of the state. For wards of the state, you used to need a guarantor. How is a ward of the state going to get a guarantor? When we removed it, within 12 months, we had a 100% increase. So I'm expecting this to have an impact, and for more low-income students, more persons who are in the first generation to go to college, to go to university, to be able to afford to do so, with this change.
I've also heard about the unemployment insurance scheme. I'm interested for you to clarify for us.
Yes, so this is something that we're building out, meaning it's not ready yet, but what we did first was a feasibility study, and has given the report on the feasibility study, and now we're going to move into implementation. The World Bank is going to help us. It will take a little while to put together. But an unemployment insurance scheme is a scheme that provides you with an unemployment benefit if you lose your job. So if you lose your work, but you not lose your work though.
Look here, don't call it funny, sir.
No man, bush off. You can't bush off like that and lose your work, But unemployment is a reality for a lot of people, life. And what we find is that persons on low income, you lose your job, you lose your income, it can send your family into turmoil, turn your life upside down with huge social consequences, and interrupt social stability. Right? It has an effect on the community as well. So what we're going to do is put in a scheme where you lose your job, the employer confirms it, that you've lost your job, you get an unemployment benefit that is a certain percentage of your prior income for a fixed period of time.
Got
right?
it.
So the idea is that it's what we call an income stabilizer if unemployment is something that visits you, and that makes the country more stable.
I hear you. And you spoke about costs several times.
Yes.
These decisions will cost the government
Yes,
extra.
this is not free.
How will it be funded?
Right. So what I alluded to yesterday is that we've done a feasibility study, and unemployment insurance scheme would cost between 0.8% and 1.5% of salary in terms of contribution from everybody who is employed. But we don't want to introduce another deduction, right? We have HART, NHT, NIS, Ed Tax. We don't introduce a fifth one. What we want to do is to consolidate the four, right? And be able to do it in such a way that most people don't have to pay any extra. They just end up with another benefit. That's what we're trying to achieve. But in the worst case scenario, that is the type of contribution that's required, which is less than most people think, to deliver a benefit that could fundamentally change Jamaica. Right? That you lose your work, you can get something from the government to tide you over. You're not falling on your face, flat on your face. So we're thinking about measures and programs that can change the social fabric of the country.
Would you like, before we leave, to highlight perhaps the biggest achievement in this 2024 budget for the government?
Oh, there are too many things. I mean,
the first one that comes to mind.
What's that? Well, I love the fact that we're increasing the threshold for the pensioners and persons who are over 65. Again, that's why you can't just allocate resources based on where most of the thing, because look, we last adjusted the threshold generally in 2018, but we last adjusted the threshold for the seniors in 2009. Yeah, and persons who retired 10, 15 years ago retired in a Jamaica that was very unstable. Yeah, and as a result, incomes were very low. They've been they've been on fixed income. We have to look after them as well. So I was very happy to increase the threshold for the seniors from $90,000 to $250,000 if you're on a pension over 55, and if you're over 65, from $90,000 to $250,000. So for pensioners over 65, there's a $500,000 increase in the threshold for them. And they also benefit from the 1.7 million as well.
No new taxes.
And then, of course, the crowning is that this is the 7th consecutive year of no new taxes. Now, I gave my personal experience. My personal experience is I came of age, right, during that 26-year period where 22 years out of that 26 years, between 1989 and 2015, for 22 of those years, every budget for those 22 years had a new tax package. And for me, I always thought that that was unhelpful, unhealthy, and Jamaica does not have to be like that. And we have made a decided effort. It takes a commitment to a principle. This is not automatic. You have to want to achieve this. You have to believe that this is good. To have a long period of time when you keep things stable on the tax front. And that is what we have changed the game as far as that is concerned. And Jamaicans are the better for it.
Amazing. Indeed. Hey, let me tell you something. I can barely do the budget at my house. Yeah. So super interesting. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And explaining to us a little further about what's happening. That was Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clarke, Minister of Finance, Public Service. More Sunrise is up after this. I need to break out my calculator.
Yeah, understand. 1 point.